Late in the evening, Abigail practices ballet in an empty theater, while a gang of criminals prepares to strike. The hacker disables all the security cameras in Abigail's house, and the sniper takes position on the roof. When Abigail leaves the theater, her driver unknowingly picks her up in a car with a hidden tracker. As they drive, the kidnappers follow. The hacker unlocks the house doors, allowing 3 criminals to sneak into Abigail's bedroom and hide. One woman protests about kidnapping a child, as it's against her norm, but the others tell her to go along. When Abigail gets home and goes to bed, the criminals seize their moment. One tries to pin her down, but she stabs his hand with a pencil. Another covers her mouth and restrains her while the woman prevents further harm. She then injects Abigail with a sedative to put her to sleep. Meanwhile, their team outside alerts them of an approaching vehicle, prompting the sniper to keep watch as the trio quickly hides Abigail in a bag and escapes through a window. They make their way across the garden, meeting the sniper just as the alarms activate. Luckily, their getaway car arrives in time, and they escape without a hitch. In the car, they check Abigail's pulse to ensure she's okay, then blindfold her. Approaching traffic, the hacker instructs the driver to take a different route, prompting a quick turn in a hideout behind a large truck. They eventually reach an abandoned mansion outside the city, where they meet Lambert, the mastermind. After handcuffing Abigail to a bed, Lambert reminds them of the rules: no sharing personal details, no unnecessary fraternizing, and to keep things professional. It's a 24-hour job until her wealthy father pays the $50 million ransom. To avoid tracking, Lambert confiscates their phones and assigns each a codename inspired by the Rat Pack. The crew then starts relaxing with some drinks. Joey refuses to share her candy with Dean, who tries to guess everyone's backstory but fails. When Joey mocks him, they bet she can do better. By observing body language and personality, she accurately deduces that Frank is a former detective, Peter is a simple-minded mob enforcer, Sammy the hacker is rich and doing this for fun, Rickles is an ex-Marine sniper, and Dean is a thrill-seeking driver. In return, Frank suggests Joey is recovering from addiction. Joey then checks on Abigail, who complains the blindfold is too tight. Joey repositions her cuffs and reassures her that they only want money, sealing it with a pinky promise. Abigail opens up, saying her father doesn't care about her, and cryptically warns Joey about something bad coming her way. Disturbed, Joey tells Frank that Abigail's father might be dangerous. Frank brushes it off as Abigail's mind games, but secretly checks on her. Shocked to find her unblinded, he immediately hides his face and demands she didn't see him. Under pressure, Abigail reveals her dad is Christophe Lazar, a powerful crime boss. Frank returns to the team, panicked, and declares he's out. The others demand an explanation, and he reveals Abigail's connection to Lazar. Joey and Rickles recognize the threat, sparking a debate. They decide to stay to collect the ransom and flee afterward, doubling security. Later, Joey hears a noise from an open window and finds a statue of a father and child. Rickles approaches, flirting unsuccessfully, and they agree to look out for each other. Meanwhile, Sammy stumbles into a TV room, startled by Dean's prank. Annoyed, she kicks him out. Dean then finds a sleeping Peter and draws a crude doodle on his face. Wandering further, he spots an old photo resembling Abigail. Heading to the kitchen, he finds a door mysteriously opening, enters, and is frightened by a rat. As he tries to leave, he's suddenly dragged by an unseen force. Hearing his scream, Sammy finds him lifeless at a table. The team arrives and is unsettled by what looks like the work of Lazar's infamous hitman, Valdez. Years ago, 3 high-ranking members of Lazar's gang were captured by the FBI. The night before their trial, they were secured on the top floor of a hotel with agents stationed everywhere. The next morning, when agents checked on them, they found the men beheaded and gutted, with no sign of entry or exit other than the locked 23rd floor door. Growing uneasy, the team checks on Abigail, finding her safe. Rickles, still fearful of Valdez, decides to leave, but when he opens the front door, he's shocked to find an additional barred gate. Peter tries to force it open, triggering a security system that seals all windows, trapping them inside. Joey deduces it's a setup, and Rickles rushes to retrieve his weapon, only to find it missing. Joey quickly questions Abigail, asking if she saw anyone else besides herself and Frank, but Abigail denies it and adds that Frank threatened her, claiming he worked for her father and was actually Valdez. Joey then confers with Rickles, and they agree something feels off. They plan to find an exit, but as Joey prepares to leave, she notices Rickles acting strangely. When she approaches, he collapses, fatally wounded, in her arms. Joey rushes downstairs in a rage, accusing Frank of being Valdez and murdering Rickles. Frank, gun drawn, insists Joey is being manipulated by Abigail. He orders Peter to take care of Abigail, but as Peter aims his gun, Joey disarms him just in time. Sammy and Frank join them, and an argument erupts. Meanwhile, Abigail frees herself from the handcuffs, revealing her true form as a vampire through a graceful ballet move. She lunges at Peter, ready to bite, but Frank shoots her. Abigail quickly regenerates, and Joey's shots prove equally ineffective, forcing the group to lock themselves in another room. They realize Abigail was Valdez all along. With the doors magnetically sealed and shutters impenetrable, Sammy's hacking skills are no use. Tensions flare, and when Peter suggests a calm approach, Frank nearly throttles him in frustration. The team fashions wooden stakes from pool sticks, while Sammy searches the kitchen for garlic. Joey hesitates, fearing killing Abigail might anger Lazar. Once prepared, they storm Abigail's room, only to find it empty. Following eerie music, they find her in another room, dancing with Dean's body. She briefly acts innocent, but when Sammy attacks, Abigail overpowers her and ignores the garlic. Frank's attempts to intervene fail, though Peter briefly restrains her. Abigail quickly overpowers him, even using his cross necklace to draw blood, proving crosses don't affect her. Frank tries a sneak attack, but Abigail disarms him and stabs his leg. Defeated, the group retreats downstairs, where Joey helps tend to their wounds. She reminds them the sedative worked during the kidnapping, and they still have a dose left. They agree to split up, with plans to alert Joey via earpieces if anyone locates Abigail. Sammy searches a dim hallway, startled by a swarm of bats that sends her tumbling into a pool filled with decomposing bodies, forcing her to climb over them to escape. Meanwhile, Abigail catches Peter off guard, and he flees, locking a door behind him, only for Abigail to break through, chasing him with fluid ballet moves. As Peter runs, Frank accidentally hits him with an open door, causing Peter to fall over a railing. Abigail then shifts her focus to Frank, pursuing him down the stairs and finally pinning him down. As Joey sees an opportunity, she lunges to inject Abigail, but Abigail swats the syringe away, sending it through a locked gate. Sammy grabs Abigail to hold her back, only for Abigail to bite her arm in retaliation. Then, Abigail seizes Frank by the leg and begins to fly, but Peter intercepts her midair, causing her to drop Frank. Peter restrains Abigail while Joey retrieves the syringe and injects her with the sedative. Abigail spits out threats and insults before falling unconscious. Sammy, in a panic, worries about turning into a vampire due to the bite. Later, Abigail wakes up locked in an elevator. Joey offers to release her if she reveals a way out. Instead, Abigail mocks them, revealing that she orchestrated everything, with Lambert working as her informant. She then lists each person's dark past: Sammy, who siphoned funds from her wealthy parents; Peter, a former enforcer who betrayed his crew; Frank, a detective who went rogue; and Joey, a disgraced medic turned underground doctor after a fatal mistake. Abigail reveals they all wronged Lazar, and she has been hunting his enemies to gain his approval. Abigail offers a deal: if they release her, she'll spare 2 of them. Frank proposes killing her, and Abigail narrows her offer to saving only 1. Tensions rise and Peter attempts to free her, but Joey shoots him before he can. The group departs, leaving Frank to guard Abigail. Alone with her, Frank tries to negotiate an escape. Abigail instructs him to pull an Agatha Christie book in the library, but once he gets the information, he refuses to free her. Enraged, Abigail breaks free, but Joey arrives and pulls wooden planks off a window, flooding the room with sunlight. The light sears Abigail's hand, forcing her to retreat to the shadows to heal. The group retreats to the library, where Frank pulls the book Abigail mentioned, but nothing happens. It was another lie. Frustrated, Joey shares with Sammy that she wanted to use this job's money to reunite with her son and start fresh. This reset idea sparks inspiration in Sammy to find the mansion's power source and short-circuit the locks. Splitting up, the group searches the house, but Abigail takes control of Sammy through her bite. Transformed into a vampire, Sammy attacks Peter, fatally biting his neck while Abigail, speaking through Sammy, taunts him. Abigail manipulates Sammy, forcing her to dance eerily, mirroring her movements. Joey and Frank arrive to find Sammy change, prompting them to flee. Sammy chases them to the library, where Abigail, through Sammy, reveals her hatred for the room where her father turned her into a vampire. Joey reflects sunlight onto Sammy using a tray, causing Sammy's body to explode. A hidden door opens in response, and despite suspecting a trap, Joey and Frank step through it, finding the mansion's control room and Lambert. Lambert, also a vampire, grabs Joey, revealing that Abigail turned him after discovering his betrayal to Lazar. Now, he lures Lazar's enemies for Abigail's twisted games. He admits he despises both Abigail and Lazar and proposes a pact with Frank, offering to turn him into a vampire to fight against them. Frank agrees, and Lambert bites him, initiating the painful transformation just as Joey awakens, horrified, to witness Frank become a vampire. Lambert commands Frank to feed on Joey, but Frank surprises him by stabbing him with a stake, causing Lambert to explode. Abigail arrives to attack, but Frank overpowers her and drains her blood. Joey seizes the moment, deactivating the mansion's security measures and retrieving her phone. She attempts to escape through the secret corridor, only to find the exit locked. Meanwhile, as Frank finishes with Abigail, Joey calls her son and leaves an emotional voicemail. Frank soon finds Joey and hurls her into the library, violently throwing her around. Desperate, Joey fights back, but her efforts are ineffective against Frank's vampire strength. He grabs her by the neck, ready to finish her, but Abigail intervenes, catching Joey just in time. Weak and wounded, Abigail proposes an alliance, promising Joey freedom if they work together to kill Frank. Frank advances, forcing the two to battle him, but his strength overpowers them. He eventually knocks Abigail down, then stabs Joey in the shoulder, pinning her to a pillar. He resumes fighting Abigail, biting her again as she signals Joey with a pinky promise. When he returns to Joey, he forces her to pull the stake and go after Abigail. But Joey is only pretending to be under his control. She turns and pushes Frank, giving Abigail the opening to leap on him. Abigail explains that Frank's powers are still developing, meaning he can't fully control or transform Joey yet. While he's distracted, Joey grabs the stake and pulls Frank down. She and Abigail join forces, stabbing him, causing him to explode. Afterward, Joey worries she might transform, but Abigail assures her she won't, as Frank is dead. Keeping her word, Abigail lets Joey go, telling her to find her son. As Joey heads toward the exit, someone grabs her shoulder. It's Lazar, Abigail's father. He reveals his many identities over the years and initially plans to kill Joey. However, Abigail intervenes, defending Joey by saying she saved her life when he wasn't there. Lazar acknowledges this, kisses Joey's hand in gratitude, and allows her to leave. Joey returns to her van and finds one last lollipop, savoring it as she drives away into freedom.